Hey guys, in this Elden Ring video, I'm going to show you two pretty powerful dexterity builds for the Nagakiba Katana. The Nagakiba Katana is a long slashing weapon that comes with a built-in passive effect for blood loss at 45. The requirements to wield the Nagakiba are a strength of 18 and a dexterity of 22. It has B scaling for both strength and dex. If you're on your first playthrough of Elden Ring and don't yet have the Nagakiba Katana, there are a few ways to get it. I think the best way would be to kill Yura, so you not only get the Nagakiba, but also his armor set. In my new game run, I killed Yura outside of the Zamor ruins in the mountaintops of the Giants to get his armor, then went to his campsite south of the Dragonborn ruins to pick up his sword, seen here on my map. My stats for this build without equipment buffs are: Vigor is at 50, my Mind is at 50, so that I have a lot of health and MP. My Endurance is at 25 because I've gotten used to not having a lot of it. My Strength is at 40, my Dexterity is all the way at 60, my Intelligence is at 30, my Faith is at 45, and my Arcane is at 30. For the first version of the build, it's a lightning-based build where I just used Nagakiba Katana as a weapon with the Gravelstone Seal as my finger seal to use incantation magic. The Gravelstone Seal boosts Dragon Cult incantations, which are mostly lightning spells. On the Nagakiba itself, I have the Ash of War for Lightning Slash, a skill that allows you to slash down with a powerful melee attack and follow it up with a bolt of lightning that leaves your weapon charged with lightning power. I've got it set to the Quality affinity. For my armor, I'm using the White Reed armor set with Akina's Mask. Akina's Mask boosts your dexterity score by 3 points. For Talisman, I've got the Lightning Scorpion Charm to boost lightning damage, the Shard of Alexander to boost the attack power of skills, namely the Lightning Slash, and then there is the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom, which raises dex score by 5 points, and finally the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, which greatly raises attack power with successive attacks. In my mixed physic, I used the Dexterity Knot Crystal tier and the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier. The Dex Knot tier temporarily raises dex score while it's active, and the Lightning tier does the same thing for lightning attack power. For incantations with this version of the build, I use my standard 3 Golden Vow for a boost to attack and defense, Blessing of the Erd Tree for healing over time, and Flame Grant Me Strength for increased physical power. For offensive spells, I use Hone Bolt and Lightning Spear. The Lightning Spear is a charged attack, so as a talisman option when zone clearing or just for more power overall, I switch out the Shard of Alexander for the Godfrey icon, which enhances charged spells and skills, and there is a noticeable difference in damage when using the Lightning Spear. How I use this build in combat is simple. When zone clearing, I mainly depend on the Lightning Spear to attack far off enemies because it has a really good range. Usually 2 to 3 spears will take care of anything, and because I have such a high mind score, my FP rarely runs out between grace sites. For enemies that get too close, I'll use my mobility and dodge around them until I can attack multiple times with the Nagakiba while looking for opportunities to use the Lightning Slash, and that's usually when they finish a heavy attack that leaves them open after they miss hitting me with it. The Nagakiba is such a long weapon, it has a good reach, so they don't have to be too close to score a hit. For boss fights, I will use all of my buff spells and the mixed physic and call up my Spirit Ashes to tank for me, and I'll sit on the outside of the fight for a bit, tossing Lightning Spears or Honed Bolts. If Lightning Spears don't seem to be doing much damage, I'll close in and look for a spot to hit the Lightning Slash, and then follow that up with as many sword slashes as I can of the Nagakiba, dodging around and countering with lightning enhanced jump attacks. In the second version of this build, I used the same stat scores, but I changed a few things up. Firstly, I used the Ronin outfit because it looked cooler than the Reed armor in my opinion, but I continue to use Akina's Mask for the added dexterity. This is now a blood build on the Nagakiba, so I'd use the Ash of War for Seppuku to increase the blood buildup power in the sword, and as a secondary weapon, I use a plus 10 Rivers of Blood Katana, another weapon that helps with blood buildup, so that dual wield attacking becomes 10 times more lethal to enemies. For Talisman this time, I used the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom, and the Claw Talisman. The Lord of Blood's Exaltation increases attack power when blood loss is near, and the Claw Talisman enhances jump attacks. In my mixed physic, I go with the Dex Knot Crystal tier and the Strength Knot tier for a temporary boost to both of those stat scores. And then for incantation spells, I still go with the standard 3 Golden Vow, Blessing of the Erd Tree, and Flame Grant Me Strength, but I add one more offensive spell, Swarm of Flies. Swarm of Flies is good for helping you to build up blood loss in enemies because it rarely ever misses its target. In combat, I make this build work by memorizing the attack patterns of whatever I'm fighting and hit with straight dual-wield melee attacks, dodging around when possible so as not to be hit. This is a very powerful melee attack build, and most enemies won't last long to repeated attack, especially with the Rotten Wing Sword Talisman powering the build. As an added option, you could replace Akine's Mask for the White Mask, an item that does the same thing as the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, increasing attack power when blood loss is near, but both work fine for this build.